in our life, the sparrow tarries. Hello, introduction of guests, President Steen and Pharaoh Rtn. We are very happy that today we have Jim will be the speaker of this regular meeting, and we have a guest of his secretary. I think Kenny. Nice to meet you. And also Sue Pa's wife, beautiful wife. And we're very happy to see Robin to be with us. 小弟公会准备低卡米算，给你跪位置。We are very happy that you came back from Kyoto. 从那个关西回来，我们在那个 Line 上有看到他的照片，非常漂亮。Very pretty pictures from Kyoto, from Tokyo, from Japan. And I think everybody here. I called Essence. He is in Jianghua, not able to come back to catch up this meeting. A couple wants a divorce, but first they have decided who will be the main guardian of their child. The jury asked both the man and the woman for a reason why they should be the one to keep the child. So the jury asked the woman first. She said, well, I carried this child around in my stomach for 9 months and had to go through a painful birth process. This is my child, and a part of me. The jury is impressed and then turned to ask the man the same question. The man replied, okay, I took a coin and put it in the drink machine, and drink comes out. And now tell me, who does the drink belong to me or the machine? Okay. Okay, that's all. Just for fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Next, our President Tan.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yeah, today is really a special day. We have a special speaker, Jimo, also our fellow Rtn. Yeah, I just know he attended our regular meeting the first time during my term. And we have two Rtn take leave and come back. First one is Robin. Yeah, good to see you in a very healthy condition. And Amy, welcome. Okay, it's Chinese poetry time. Because this is a spring day, so I share this spring day's poem from Zhuxi, Nansong. I find out that if I translate to English, it would be more, understandable to you. Not so difficult. Not just for kids, for everyone. Yeah, you can read the English, then you will know. Okay, it's not so difficult. 胜日徐风似水冰啊 That's one fine day I enjoy an outing at the waterside. And there's an immense joy to face the refreshing sight. So I feel the touch of the vernal wind. Vernal means the spring, right? 春风 in easy way. So the myriads of red and violet, that's in many of the reds, that mean the flower, reveal it's a spring day. And it's the meaning of the word, but it's a profound meaning. Between the line. 中西是南宋的那个时候这个泗水是什么呢？泗水我们说以前孔门它在这个叫做 竹水跟泗水之滨啊，在受教。泗水在山东，那基本上他已经南迁到那个浙江，他怎么会跑到泗水去玩呢？他事实上就是说我们人啊，要追寻这个学问啊，就好像要追寻到孔门泗水滨，那就是到孔门下面去求学。那 if you study hard, then you will have immense joy, in your life. 所以呢，当你得了学问之后呢，你就好像会有无边的美景 around you。那你就我们说这个好的老师会让你如沐春风。So you will feel the touch of the vernal winds. Like if you under the teaching of a good teacher, you will feel like it's a spring breeze around you. Feel so comfortable, and then your life will become very vivid, very colorful. So 万紫千红总是春。这首诗里面比较深层的一个意义。OK, next. 那这是 next 初期的另外一首。那上一个对，关书有感，就是说他看了书以后，他有感。半亩方塘一鉴开，这个方塘就是 pond， 一个小池塘就好像一个镜子一样，镜就是镜子，就好像一个镜子一样So open is a glassy mirror in the tiny pond。And 它会反映到天上的这些云跟天光跟云翳。So the daylight and the cloud shadows are formed， 就好像这个镜子在那个水塘映出来。然后为什么这个方塘可以映出水影，可以映出这个天光跟这个云翳？因为它很轻嘛，如果是很浊的，一定映不出来。So 他就问说，为什么这个水这么轻呢？而且这么透亮？As how it could be so clear and clean, and because that from the source fresh water flows in， 因为源头有活水一直来，我们要流水不腐度，不疏不度因此有活水，那水就会清。那就是你要不断的去求进、求学，要进步。源源不绝的有新知一直进来，那你呢，你的思虑就会很 clear， 也会很 clear。OK， 谢谢今天跟你的分享 ，Thank you。
Next, before we go on, I'd like to invite PP Robin to come forward. According to our Chinese culture, you have to eat some dikamiswa.
Someone was put in the jail, and after that,
not only jail, even hospital too. So, you want to fit our PP Robin? 真的有啊！哇
Yesterday, Jeff gave me suggest that before Robin just come back, so we should give him a fire stove, maybe roast that or but yeah, I'm really sorry. I didn't know that for those guys that come out from the jail.
抓过火炉啦，
这是出狱的人，是吧？对吧？那之后你看，出院的时候吃地方，
你看秘书都好了，哎呦，你妈嘞
！OK， 吃不完打包回家。Thank you, everybody. I think this time is the most difficult in my life. But I overcome. I survived. And I have to thank many people. The first one, I have to thank my daughter Joy. She donated a large part of her liver to me, and I stand here. Second, I have to thank my wife. She take care of me day and night without complaint. And the third, I have to say thank to Berthold. He arranged everything for me and as fast as possible, so I can resist and thus I thank all of you. Enrich my life. Thank you.
Thank you, P.P. Robert. So let's get on with the next show. Our speaker today, Jemo. Anybody gonna introduce you? Introduce yourself.
Okay.
Fellow Rotarians and guests, good afternoon. It's an honor to be here to speak about my, I don't want to call it life experience because many of you have much more than experience than me. So, but to share some of my stories, some I found interesting, and some that I never shared with the public. So hopefully this will be interesting and for everyone. But I'll start with when I was young. So I grew up in Taichung. I went to Morrison Academy. I've always been educated under the U.S. Educational system. And then when I was 14, I was forced to go to the U.S. for school. I mean forced. My brother went, and then to a very good school in the U.S. called Milton Academy. And I didn't have good grades. I never was good in school. So I'm also very surprised I actually got into this school. It's top 5 schools, high school in the U.S. But I'm guessing it's because my brother went there and he did very well. So I think I'll probably be the same. But it turned out I wasn't the same. I wasn't that interested in studying. But I appreciated that experience because I think it trained me a lot as to how I think and how I analyze a lot of issues. So I appreciate that 4 years at Milton Academy. Milton Academy is in Massachusetts. So I went there when I was 14 for 4 years. So after that, I actually got into college. My grades were very bad. I went to Carnegie Mellon University. It's famous for computer science engineer. I went there for my information systems Bachelor of Science degree. I actually did well there because it was something I was interested in. So I think at that moment, I slowly realized that I have to do something I'm interested in, or else I will never succeed. So 4 years of college in Pittsburgh. Don't go to Pittsburgh. Anybody who's been there, I'm sorry, but Pittsburgh is a very peaceful town. A lot of people retire there, but it's very depressing. That's all I can say. So I went there for 4 years, got my degree, and then came out to work for a year. I was there working for a year because I was waiting for my wife, May, to graduate. At that time, we weren't married or anything, so I took a risk to wait for a year, and turned out the risk paid off. So a year, then we moved to California, to Irvine. That's where we stayed for around 6 years. And during that 6 years, I worked in many different industries, including healthcare, including real estate, IT, and hospital. And during that time, I had a lot of exposure to many different companies. Some are public companies, some are private, some are startup companies. So that gave me a lot of ideas. And over the 6 years, I actually tried to form a business, to do something on the web. But then I wasn't successful, and but still I got to meet a lot of good people and got to accumulate a lot of good experiences. So 6 years I also got my MBA degree at UC Irvine, and then After that, I worked in a hospital. So I thought I was going to come back and work in the hospital. So I worked there in their strategy department and doing a lot of cost analysis and a lot of strategic decision making. So I came back to Taiwan 6 years ago. I wasn't working in the hospital. I was working on J-Mall, well, the now J-Mall. So it was a bit surprising because I had no experience in commercial development. I had no experience in 招商. I don't know how to say that. In recruiting like brands into whatever. I had no experience in construction, so I think it was a brand new thing for me, and I had no resources, and no team, no one. So for some reason my dad thought I was suitable for that job, and he told me to go develop that land. So it took some time, but after a while I slowly got a hang of what was suitable at J-Mall. So the concept was to build a brand. I don't want people referring J-Mall to as 澄清医院旁边那个停车场 or like 东海什么附近的什么东西. I wanted to have a name called J-Mall, and I wanted to look nice. Like in the US, I was trained to value brands, because brands is what make the most money and what is the most long-lasting. So I basically developed the J-Mall brand and the logo and everything to go with that. And also make the building look prettier, because the building was really, really ugly. When I first came back, I saw the building. I can't blame them for designing it that way, because it was a parking lot. But then we put more restaurants in there, and then we wanted to be pretty to attract, better brands to come in. So I was lucky to be able to approach Wang Ping, and Wang Ping, I actually negotiated with Dai Shenyi, the sister, Dai Ting, and I was able to get Tasty Qiti into J-Mall. So that was the first big accomplishment. After that, more and more brands came in, because they saw, Wang Ping chose us, meaning we have some value, we have some future. So more and more brands came in. Also some from Taipei. So I think that was another good direction for J-Mall. But at that time, I was not interested in food and beverage at all. I was just doing J-Mall and got some experience there. So after that, my dad actually got me into a hospital working, so I was excited. So that's when I took over our health management center, 健康管理中心. It was, I think we had it for around 12 years before then, and then it was in a small location on our 3rd floor in our old building. So in our old building, the 3rd floor is a very small location, and I ran it till today, where we moved to a new building. But the whole experience was pretty interesting, because the first time I was able to actually get exposed to our hospital. At the same time, because health checkup, it connects to many different departments in the hospital. So that allowed me to get to know more about the hospital operation. So I thought that was, going to be something I'm going to do and mainly do. And then for some reason, I wanted to operate our kitchen. I don't know where I got the idea, but for some reason I wanted to do our kitchen for our hospital. So I took over the kitchen, I established a company, took over the kitchen, brought a restaurant chef into our hospital. The concept behind that was to make meals that hospital patients would want to eat. If you're in the hospital, to be honest, you don't want to eat any other food. It's not good. So our goal was to make something that people wanted to eat. Because if you don't eat, then your body deteriorates, and it's harder to slowly recover. So we started off in our nursing center in 静德护理之家, and we worked on 护理之家the meal, and also 产后护理 meal. And then we did pretty well, and then we took over the hospital kitchen, and then it was responsible for basically all the patient meals and all the employee meals. So that was a very interesting experience, but it's very hard to make money because the margin is so small. So basically we started developing mainly for like private room meals and also for 健检 meals, and to get higher margin, but to also make it so that it's attractive for people to want to order. and that turned out to pretty well. So it made the company that I established actually profitable, and it's very stable now. As long as the hospital is stable, we're stable. But that was a side project. But now I'm still running that company. And one day, at the same time, I was also working on our new hospital building. I don't know if you've seen it. It's right behind our old hospital building. It used to be our parking lot, and the parking lot moved to J Mall to construct a new building. The new building has it's from B4 to 11th floor. So I'll get to this later on in the presentation, but I basically formed another company to create our 国泰健康管理中心. It's our executive health management center. And then we moved from the 3rd floor, which is around 100 ping, to now we have the 3rd and 4th floor, which is 1,000 ping. So we basically expanded this department, and we thought at the moment I wanted to build a brand. I didn't want people to recognize me as, or this department as 澄清医院附设的 something. I wanted to have its own name. Like in Taipei, when you hear 永悦, you know 永悦 what it does. So I wanted to do you guys know 永悦?
No.
So it's not successful in building brand. 永悦 is famous for 产后护理. 小 S 去永悦. But yeah, so 国泰健康管理中心 was formed to do that, and I'll get to it later in the presentation. So amidst all of this, I thought, my life is stable. I'm working on, projects in the hospital and project outside, like with J Mall and everything. So one trip to LA, and then on the way back, my wife actually got a text from a friend. This friend we met, her name is Jean. We met on the plane, actually. She's from Singapore. She's a lawyer. She went to the U.S. to study. To study and work also. But she sat right next to me on the plane. And my wife loves to talk to strangers. And I always tell her not to talk to strangers. But this time I'm glad she talked to Jean. And then they started chatting and everything. And then after when we came back to LA, during that flight, we met up again. And then she wanted to invite Jean to our house to stay over. And I told my wife, why are you inviting strangers to our house? But I'm glad that she invited Jean to our house also. You'll see why. But anyways, when we came back to Taiwan, Jean wanted to come to Taiwan to visit. I'm like, what's up with this Jean? Why does she want to follow us everywhere? So we invited her to Taiwan again to stay in Taiwan, our house. And then we showed them our hospital, we showed them J Mall and everything. And it turns out Jean knows the master franchise for Tianhaoyu. So that's why my wife would always bring that up when I tell her not to talk to strangers. She's like, how's the Tianhaoyu come along, So on the plane, she texted May, my wife, about Tianhaoyu. She's like, do you want to operate a Michelin 1-star dim sum in Taiwan? And when I first heard it, I was like, that's restaurant. Like, we're not even in that business. Why are we thinking about doing this? So I told her I'm not interested. I have too much stuff already in the hospital. So she kept continuing discussing this with Jean. But to a point, the conversation had to involve me. She wanted to ask me a lot of things and what my thoughts are and all that. To a point, I told her, okay, fine, I will talk to Jean. I will do all this thing. You stay out of it. So that's when everything started. I started working with Jean on proposing Taiwan Tianhaoyu, and it took some time, but we did a lot of preparation and stuff because we know we had no experience in food and beverage, so we had a lot of preparation to do, and eventually we were able to persuade the master franchise boss to give us this opportunity. Actually, the master franchise company, they don't have any experience in food and beverage also. Tianhaoyu was the first experience. But they were very good in doing franchisee model. So they're very successful in Singapore with that. So I'm very lucky to get that opportunity, and it took a lot of work to try to get that into establish the trust between me and the 老板. The 老板's name is Harry. So we established a company in Taipei. The main company is called 合意生活. 合意生活 we started around 1.5 years ago. To now, we are basically operating 商场, like plaza or mall, and then F&B brands. So let me just go through a little bit about what we do for 合意生活. So we have a plaza in Taipei train station. I think many of you have been there before. So we rented the first floor and the basement. It's around 1,100 pin. It's a very, very old building. So the basement, the ceiling is very low also. So it took some time to change the usage of this location to restaurant. We wanted to do everything legal. So first floor had some stores, including our own brands, 天好运. Right now this is Pablo, and then Lee sandwiches. So we started operating in March, this plaza, and then currently we have these brands inside, and now we have Pablo also, and now we're testing other concepts, including fashion retail, and then also another restaurant. I don't know if you guys had Katsuya. You know Katsuya? It's one of the largest, actually it is the largest chain restaurant in Japan. So we were fortunate to bring them into our basement to help the crowd. Not only that, we have an area where we like to do a lot of wenchuang. And so we partner with like, you know 爽场猫? 拜拜居居? No? 马来貘, yeah, right? Okay, so we partner, it's called 爽鸠摩. They're basically the same agent, but they have, they license these characters for us to use. So when people come down, they can take pictures. And this 爽场猫, we're supposed to destroy it after we use it, but we moved it to our office, so it's currently still alive in our office. This is life size. Like if I stand here, I'm around this height, so it's very big. We also work with 市集边缘人. They do also a lot of 文创, so they do everything from clothing to accessories to books to everything. It's from a couple students from 实践大学. They came out and established this 市集, so they can display many different cultural items and for commercial use. So going back to 天好运, so we opened in July of 2014, and this is the location. So when we opened, it was very, very hot, so we didn't know what to expect. To be honest, this line and everything, we had no idea there was going to be so many people lined up. So first day, I think people waited for 6 hours to get into the restaurant to eat, and that broke a lot of records also in Asia. All the 天好运 compared. So it was a pretty good start for us. But then we started to open more. So our second location is at Taipei 信义, 星光三月 B2, A8 B2. And then we opened in Taichung. Many of you have been to the Taichung location. And then recently it's Taipei 的板机店, 统一时代店. So the whole process, actually we grew very, very fast. I mean, last year our revenue for 天好运 is close to 6亿. So the growth is very fast in 1.5 years. And then we have a lot of pressure also because 天好运 in Hong Kong has maintained Michelin 1-star status for 7 years now. And then it was also ranked in, the Daily Meal is a very large US ratings of the restaurants in the world. And it was also ranked number 1 in Asia for last year. Din Tai Fung was number 1 2 years ago. So we took over Din Tai Fung's status. This is just a new location, new concept also. This is actually a very small store. Our normal stores are around 100 pin, and then this store is around 30 pin. But the revenue we get at this store is almost close to the revenue we get at a 100 pin store. So this concept is a very successful concept, and a lot of from Singapore, they come and view this model, and then they bring it back to Singapore and try to duplicate it. But so far they haven't been able to. So the next brand we brought in was these sandwiches. So the reason we brought in this brand is because I used to eat a lot of it in the US, and I really liked it. And the only risk we saw was that this product called a baguette, or 法式越南三明治. This is not as widely known in Taiwan to consumers. So that was the main risk we saw. So we thought that, okay, we have a brand that's known in the US, and we bring it in, but how do we promote this product? Right now we're still working on it. It's still been challenging, but people who have it likes it and then do come back. So our return on customers, 回流客, very, very, very strong. But how to introduce more of our customers in, I think that's our biggest challenge. So these are some stats, of these sandwiches. Okay. So during these periods, so last year we were looking at opening our plaza and then these sandwiches. So at that moment we were thinking maybe we can get into dessert. So dessert is a very, very weird market in Taiwan. It's very large, very profitable. But the consumers who buy desserts are very young people, and they have so much money to spend. I don't know where they get all that money for everybody here. So it's very interesting. So we looked for something that was very, very popular in other countries. In Japan, most people like Japanese product. Most Taiwanese customers like Japanese. So we looked at Japanese product, and this is supposed to be a suspense of Pablo. So we found Pablo, and the way we identify this brand is someone actually introduced us to Pablo. We looked at the blogs. If you see a lot of Taiwanese customers writing blogs about this foreign brand, and if you go to the store itself in Japan, and you see a lot of foreign or tourists buying this brand, that means usually it will work in another country. So we are able to bring this brand in, and we opened in this year of January. So these are some pictures of the lines in Japan and everything. So these last year was very interesting. We were able to bring in 2 brands. We were able to expand Tianhaoyun, open a plaza. So in 1 year, we actually accomplished a lot of our goals. But there's a lot of painful stories in this whole process. Everything looks very, very good, but throughout the whole experience, my team and I, we endured a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenges. I think the biggest challenge we had was we were expanding so fast. But how do you find the right people to do the right things at the right time? Because you don't want to hire people too early, or else you get more overhead costs. You don't want to hire the wrong people, or else you can't get anything done. So I think we're pretty lucky last year to find a good mix of people in our team and develop. So in terms of our company this year, we are hoping to grow our stores, and hoping also to grow our revenue by 2 times. We're planning for 3 to 4 Tianhaoyun this year, including Banqiao, which is opening actually in 20 days. Also Kaohsiung, we're also opening probably close to the summer, and then we have Taoyuan coming also, and then we're hoping to open Hsinchu also, both at the end of the year. So it's going to be a very challenging year for us. Okay, so this a little bit about my company. At the same time, I'm also running the 国泰健康管理中心. This company was also established to run the center, and we partner with a very strong imaging team to help us bring in more imaging customers. Because most of the high-end involves machines like MRI, CT. So the team is specializes in that type of specialty. So we're lucky to partner with them to work on this. So this is our new building, which it took 5 years to build. Mainly because of, it's not in the picture, mainly because of the building behind us. Our building is a little bit too close to the building, so the residents there had a lot of arguments and opinions. But everything we do is completely legal, and we already started building a building, so to be honest, there's nothing much to do except to just finish the building. When I came back, we already started on the construction, and then we just recently had our opening ceremony. But 国泰健康管理中心 we opened in December, and then we started running and operating. So basically, I think the main highlight of 国泰健康管理中心 is, first of all, we have only 2 floors, third floor and fourth floor. It's around 1,000 team. And if you go to many, even medical centers, you can't do everything in 2 floors or 1 floor. Usually the MRI, CT, you have to go to a basement, or you have to go to another building and so forth. But for us, everything is on the 4th floor. We have 2 MRI and 1 CT. And then on the 4th floor, we also have endoscopy, 内视镜. And then we have 4 lines. Usually, like Taichung Rongzong, they have 4 lines also. So our initial concept was to become better than medical center. So we also visited Taida, also a lot of Taipei Medical Center. So that's where we come up with this plan. So it's a basic 健康管理服务. Basically, we have mainly a process. Basically, you schedule a time, and we prefer to face-to-face to understand what your needs are, based on your past history, based on your family history, and we can give you a recommended, suggested checkup. Because sometimes you don't need to spend so much money. Sometimes maybe you're healthy. You just maintain that healthy lifestyle, and then come back for blood tests, simple ultrasound or X-ray. That's fine also. And then when you come here, you do the whole check-in and do the whole checkup. And something very unique is where at the end of the day, if you do imaging, our doctors would give you the 判读解说. We'll give you the results right away. We'll let you know the problems. A lot of these in other centers, you have to reserve another day or something to come back. So that's very unique on our end. Because we have a full-time imaging 放射科医师. Radiologist. We have a full-time radiologist at the center looking at all the pins and everything. Also, we focus a lot on the afterwards, because afterwards is what's most important. Like, we help you monitor a lot of your conditions, and we will call you to ask you how you're doing and everything. And based on the day that you do a checkup, we'll also schedule and also help you plan what you need to do in the long run. So our devices are very new. I think we are actually willing to invest in these devices, and it's only used for our center. no other department, the radiology department in the hospital doesn't use these devices. So that's another uniqueness about us. But in turn, we put a lot of money down for these devices. And we also introduced Santi into Jianjian. I mean, a lot of centers don't really use this level for checkup. They use it for research. So this is something different that we want to promote that, you know, we're different than the other centers. Also, you know, other devices we use. These are some of the images. And if you, hey, this is Candy. If you have any other follow-up and stuff, we would obviously want to refer to Chenjin Yuan. But if Chenjin Yuan for some reason doesn't have the capability, we will refer you to our network of doctors. Yeah, this is me, my brother, our center. Oh, he came last time. Wei Zuran came to the speech. Before we opened, we wanted to promote the concept of Jianjian, because still a lot of people don't know Jianjian, don't know what it is, or why do I need to spend this money? If I have something wrong, I go to the hospital. It's all covered by Jianbao. But prevention should be what people are thinking. You need to prevent the disease before it happens. So I think that's very important. So in this event, we actually did a lot of press to promote the concept of prevention. So in a way to more promote the Jianjian industry. So some articles on that. So yeah, so basically, I think my life got interesting around 2-3 years ago, in summary. Before that, I never thought I would be able to do all this. I always liked something new. To be honest, I'm not that ambitious. Maybe you think I'm lying, but I don't have the ambition to do more and more. I think it's just an interest and maybe 处女座, the horoscope. When I start to do something, I want to do it right. I want to do it well. I think that's maybe what challenges me, what drives me every day. And you know, I'm looking forward to many years ahead with both companies, and we see a lot of potential, not only in the food and beverage, but also the healthcare checkup side. So that's kind of my life story to this day. Hopefully next time, maybe many years later, I can share my results when I retire. Yeah, I think that's pretty much sums it up. Okay, thank you. Any questions?
My question is, how do you balance different kind of thinking? Let's say the health management center is more expertise intensive, capital intensive, equipment intensive. I mean, turnover part is slow. And then in restaurant, I think you have faster turnover. That capital not that intensive. Okay. And secondly is, I mean, out of those brands, there must be some criteria for decision making. That one, you mentioned that these standards, because we have kind of experience at consumption in the US, so you have to all the rest. Yeah. All those brands are completely different. And then probably there are different food processing process and service process. And how to train people in that kind of different brand.
I always tell everybody that I don't have a specialty. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. You know, I'm just J-Mall. I'm not sure. I don't have a specialty. I think that's what makes me different, because I can see things from a third perspective. You know, I see things differently than our team, which is good, because sometimes I say stupid things, but I think it's better to speak your mind, but rather than to hide what you're thinking. So in short, I think my team is very important. I'm able to cross so many different industries because I have a very strong team that's helping me manage the operations. But I think also another responsibility is I have to find good people. So especially higher executives, I need to be able to identify them. Not only they need to be experienced, but they also have to fit into our company culture. If they don't fit into company culture, regardless of how good they are, it doesn't work. So to answer the first question, I think it's basically me being a third party looking into the whole industry and doing things differently. I think like Apple had a motto, say think differently. So I think that's kind of my specialty. To answer the second question, in terms of these brands, to be honest, Lee's is the most challenging one. So I'm still doubting whether I made the right choice or not. I like the food and everything, but I'm not sure if it will work in Taiwan. The other two, like Tiantianyun, they do Gangdian dim sum. That has been in Taiwan for a long time. Especially it's Michelin 1-star and it's not expensive. So based on that criteria, we thought it was a very good opportunity. Pablo, because it's cheese tart, I think anything cheese that's sweet, that's not too expensive, a lot of young people like it. And the concept is very good, very unique, and the way they market the brand is very, they spend a lot of time doing that. So that's kind of the train of thought. So every new brand we come in, we look at what do Taiwan consumers like? And then based on that, we go find brands that have their uniqueness. You know, obviously having Michelin is very unique. It's very, it's already in its own level. So that's kind of how we identify brands. Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Jemo. Next, attendance report.
This is attendance report. First, welcome Robbie Healthy back, and also welcome Sumi and Amy back to our meeting. So today we have 18 members attending the meeting and 2 guests. So we have the attendance rate near 70. Thank you. Much better than previous weeks.
Surgeon Arm, PPRP.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have a lot expecting donation from Blue 1,000. Welcome back, Jay Moore and Robin. Thank you. 1,000.
Thank you. So, President Skip, to
Okay, thank you everyone.